Good day everyone. This is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material. Our topic is contemporary global governance with integration of COVID-19. First, let's discuss about the learning outcomes students should be able to gain understanding about global governance with integration of COVID-19. Number 2 is learn the effects of globalization on government. Number 3, identify the institution that governs international relations. 4, learn the difference between internationalism and globalism. Global governance. Global governance refers to the system of rules, institutions, and practices that guide and manage global issues, that interaction between countries, international organizations, and the other global actors. Unlike national governance, which operates within the boundaries of a single state, global governance deals with issues that transcend national borders, such as climate change, international trade, human rights, and global security. Global governance in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic highlights the ways in which international coordination, cooperation, and institutions manage global health crisis. The pandemic underscored both the strengths and weaknesses of global governance structures when dealing with an urgent worldwide threat. Here's how the concept applies with the integration of the COVID-19 pandemic. Global health governance. The World Health Organization, or WHO. The WHO played a central role of coordinating the global response to COVID-19. It provided guidelines, track and spread the virus, and facilitated the sharing of information between countries. However, the pandemic also exposed limitations in WHO's ability to enforce compliance and its reliance on member states' cooperation. Vaccine development and distribution. The development of vaccines as a major success of global governance. Initiatives like COVAX, co-led by the WHO, aim to ensure the equitable access to vaccines worldwide. Thus, the challenge in the distribution highlighted inequalities between nations. Number 2, international cooperation and solidarity. Multilateral efforts. The pandemic saw the successful and unsuccessful attempts of international cooperation. While some countries work together to share resources, information, and medical supplies, others prioritize national interests, leading to competition and unequal access to resources. Economic and social responses. Global governance framed including international financial institutions like the IMF and the World Bank provided financial support to countries hit the hardest by the economic fallout of the pandemic. However, the effectiveness and the fairness of these responses were often debated. Number 3, challenges and criticisms. Nationalism versus multilateralism. The pandemic brought in the focus the tension between nationalist policies and the need for coordinated global response. Some countries prioritize their own population at the expense of global solidarity, leading to the vaccine hoarding and uneven recovery rates. Lessons for future crisis. COVID-19 has provided valuable lessons on the importance of global governance in managing transnational threats and emphasizing we need to more robust, inclusive, and equitable system to handle the future global challenges, whether the pandemics, climate change, or other crises.
Globalization drives governments to adapt their policies to meet the demands of a globalized world. Economically, this involves reducing trade barriers and aligning regulations with international standards. But it also means that governments might lose some controls over their domestic economies due to the influence of multinational corporations and international institutions. For example, local Filipino farmers have particularly with the influx of cheaper imported agricultural products such as rice, corn, and vegetables. These imports, often coming from countries with more advanced agricultural technologies or subsidies, have made it difficult for local farmers to compete, affecting their livelihoods and the broader agricultural sector in the Philippines. Politically and socially, globalization introduces both opportunities and challenges. It encourages international cooperation on global issues, but can also weaken national sovereignty as governments must navigate global norms and agreements. Socially, the spread of global cultures and ideas can either enrich a nation or challenge its traditional identity, leading to potential social tensions. Additionally, the rapid of technological advancement that come with globalization create new challenges, such as managing cybersecurity threats and controlling the spread of information. Governments must balance these complexities to maintain stability and protect their national interests.
My topic is all about the importance of international cooperation with the integration of COVID-19 and global governance. So first of all, what is global governance? Global governance entails overseeing international matters through various institutions, regulations, and collaborative efforts. It encompasses organizations such as the UN or United Nations and World Health Organization, international agreements, and involvement from multiple stakeholders to tackle issues like trade, health, and climate change. The aim is to establish a system for managing global interconnections and ensuring stability. Key institutions in this process include the United Nations, World Health Organization, World Trade Organization, International Monetary Bank, and World Bank, which play crucial roles in managing global health, trade, and financial stability. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted both the benefits and drawbacks of globalization, especially through disruptions in global supply chains and difficulties in international coordination. Governments faced shortages of essential goods, had to deal with border closures, and needed to reevaluate public health strategies and global mobility. The crisis also exposed economic disparities, with wealthier nations able to manage the situation better than poorer ones. Moreover, the pandemic led to a rise in nationalism and protectionism as governments focused on domestic priorities. It accelerated digital globalization, presenting new challenges for regulation in areas like cybersecurity and data privacy. Additionally, the pandemic tested public confidence in governments, making their pandemic response a key indicator of their effectiveness and accountability in a globalized context.
Good day. I have assigned to discuss with you about identifying the institution that governs international relations. Several key institutions govern international relations by providing frameworks, rules, and forums for cooperation and conflict resolution among nations. These institutions address various aspects of global governance, including peace and security, trade, finance, human rights, and environmental protection. Here are some of the most important institutions. The first one is UN, or what we call United Nations. The purpose of the UN is the primary international organization aimed at maintaining peace and security, promoting human rights, fostering social and economical development, and addressing global challenges like climate change. They are responsible for maintaining international peace and security with the power to authorize military action and impose sanctions. Now let's move on to the second one, WTO, World Trade Organization. The purpose of WTO, it governs international trade by providing a framework for negotiating trade agreements and resolving trade disputes among member states. Its key function ensures that trade flows smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. Now, let's move on to the third one, IMF, or International Monetary Fund. The purpose of IMF promotes global monetary cooperation, secures financial stability, facilitates international trade, promotes high employment and sustainable economic growth, and reduce poverty. Its key function is to provide financial assistance and advice to member countries facing economic difficulties. Now, let's move on to the fourth one, World Bank. The purpose of World Bank provides financial and technical assistance to developing countries for development projects. Examples are infrastructure, education, health, aimed at reducing poverty and promoting economic development. Its key bodies are includes the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development and the International Development Association. Now, let's move on to the fifth and final organization, the NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Its purpose is a military alliance that provide collective defense against aggression, primar- primarily focused on the security of its state in North America and Europe. Its key function is to collect security where an attack against one member is considered an attack against all. So, to sum up, these institutions, along with others, play a critical role in shaping international relations by fostering cooperation.
Differentiate internationalism from globalism. So we start from knowing what is internationalism. Internationalism is based on cooperation between sovereign states while respecting national borders and identities. So we continue with what is globalism. All of us already know what is globalism. Globalism refers to the idea of increasing interconnectedness and interdependence of people and countries worldwide. So what is the difference between internationalism and globalism? Internationalism emphasizes cooperation between nations while maintaining their sovereignty, while globalism focuses on the integration that transcends national boundaries. Internationalism tends to work through structured cooperative agreements between states. Globalism involves broader economic and cultural networks that go beyond traditional state control. Internationalism is often viewed positively as it supports diplomacy and collective problem solving. Globalism is more controversial due to concerns over the loss of local control and the dominance of global economic elites. Internationalism supports global cooperation but within the framework of nation-states, whereas globalism leans toward a more borderless world where global networks take precedence over national distinctions.
Hello everyone, my topic for today is what are the rules and functions of the United Nations? So, United Nations is established in 1945. The United Nations or UN is an international organization whose main goals are to advance international cooperation, peace, and security. Its duties and responsibilities fall into the following general categories, namely: first, maintaining international peace and security. Second, promoting sustainable development. Third is promoting human rights. And the fourth is providing humanitarian aid. And the fifth is upholding international law and facilitating global cooperation. And the last is promoting social progress. At this point, let's talk about maintaining international peace and security. These include conflict prevention. The UN works to prevent conflict through diplomacy and mediation. UN also deploys peacekeeping forces to conflict zones to maintain ceasefires and support the implementation of peace agreements. The UN also promotes arms control and disarmament to reduce the threat of conflict. The functions are carried out by various bodies within the UN system, including the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, and the Secretariat, each playing a distinct role in fulfilling the organization's mission. And that would be all. Thank you and have a good day.
Let us identify the challenges of global governance in the 21st century. Since there are a lot of challenges, I'm only discussing the three major challenges of global governance. The first is climate change. This is a big challenge for global governance because it affects everyone everywhere, requiring countries to work together. Since climate change impacts many parts of the world in different ways, it's crucial for nations to cooperate on solutions that are fair to all, especially to those who are most vulnerable. The issue is complex and involves many areas, like the economy and natural systems. So international agreements and efforts are needed to tackle it effectively. Next is population growth. So population growth is a big challenge for global governance because more people means greater demand for food, water, and services. Countries need to work together to manage these needs and protect the environment. As the number of people grows, it becomes crucial to ensure that everyone has a good quality of life and that resources are used wisely. This requires global cooperation to handle the issues that come with a growing population. Next is global health pandemics. This is a big challenge also for global governance because they spread quickly across borders, affecting people everywhere. Coordinating responses such as providing vaccines, sharing information, and managing healthcare resources requires international collaboration. Countries need to work together to prevent, detect, and respond to outbreaks effectively, ensuring that all nations, especially to those few resources, get the help they need to handle this health crisis.
I will discuss about the relevance of the state amid globalization. The state plays a crucial role amid globalization. It's responsible for formulating integration strategies and roadmaps based on accurate awareness of global opportunities and challenges, adjusting policy and law, managing the economy, and negotiating international agreements. The role of the nation state in a global world is largely a regulator one as the chief factor in a global interdependence, while the domestic role of the nations remains a largely unchanged state that were previously isolated are not forced to engage with another to set international commerce policy. However, the relationship between the state of the economy is crucial and beneficial for both sides in the modern economies. The state of globalization have to find a way to consist it remains to be seen whether nations will disappear or adapt with a response to globalization. The state role has been transformed in the second global period with an strengthening of the state function in the global financial order and transforming in cities active participants in global capitalist order.
I'm going to explain the importance of cooperation in global governance. Cooperation is crucial to global governance because no single country or organization can solve global issues like climate change, pandemics, or economic instability on its own. Effective cooperation allows countries that organization to pool resources, share knowledge, and align their actions to address these complex challenges. Without cooperation, efforts can become fragmented, less effective, and may even lead to conflicts. In global governance, cooperation ensures that solutions are more comprehensive, fair, and sustainable, benefiting everyone involved. An example of importance of cooperation in global governance is the international response to COVID-19 pandemic. Countries around the world work together to develop and distribute vaccines through initiatives like COVAX, which aim to ensure that even poorer nations had access to vaccines. Scientists shared research data across borders to speed up the development of treatments and vaccines. Without this cooperation, some countries would have struggled to manage the pandemic on their own, leading to more prolonged and severe global impact. These examples show how global cooperation can lead to faster, more effective solutions to worldwide